Next question goes to Dale Meyer. Many citizens have concerns as to how the police department handles certain situations, in particular underage drinking. In your next administration, if you're elected, how would you address these citizens' concerns?
You know, anytime that a member of the community has a concern with any function in the city of Petoskey, they certainly can voice their concerns with the mayor or any council members or any directly to any people that supervise wherever they happen, whether it's Parks and Rec, public safety, or the Department of Public Works. But as far as public safety goes, those gentlemen that are in that business are highly trained professionals. Probably some of you don't know, they are people that are trained as police officers, they're trained as fire officers, and they're also trained as emergency medical. So when that guy arrives at your door, he can put the handcuffs on you, he can save your life from a fire, or he can provide medical assistance. They're highly trained and they're highly supervised. They have supervisors over the regular police officers. They have a supervisor on public safety. You have a city manager. But more importantly, they're supervised by all of the attorneys and judges and prosecutors that they work for. They don't have a wide range of activities that they can participate in. They have to meet the status quo. They have to work within the policies and procedures set forth by them through the police and those different organizations. Now, as far as getting public input in it, certainly if there are issues, we would like to have those raised at City Hall, to the mayor, Department of Public Safety, whoever you feel comfortable doing that with. But to try to get political spin into the operations of your police department, I think would be a real travesty to our community, because even as Dr. Paul had mentioned in his newspaper article the other day, you know, when he started surveying this, he noted that they tended to find that the officers acted appropriately for a given situation. So why do we need the oversight?
Dr. Paul, you have 2 minutes.
Oh, thank you. The reason we need the oversight is because people are not happy. What I've heard in the answer so far from the current mayor is that there will be no discussion at a council level, and I fundamentally disagree with that. I think that's how we solve issues in the community, by discussing them and by having the community leaders discuss them. I think there's certainly a leadership role. I don't see the negatives to it. I see only positives. I could read again what I was reading from when I talked about what police department administrators think of this. What I'm reading from is a large manual from the National Institute of Justice, who's addressed the issue of police oversight and feels very strongly that it's worth considering. There's several different models. There's different costs, to nearly none to more. The community has to tailor what its needs are with its solution. But I favor the discussion. I think there's only positive things that come out of it. And the comment that when you have oversight boards, they tend to not find a lot of problems, is what's really encouraging and positive about this. With some solutions that aren't necessarily that costly, by having discussions, you can get to a situation where you have some kind of oversight function, and the community and the officers are on the same page, everyone's got the same expectations, and everyone feels a lot better about what's going on. I would just like to repeat what police department administrators have reported about citizen oversight from the National Institute of Justice manual. It improves their relationship and image with the community. It has strengthened the quality of the department's internal investigations and reassured the public that the process is thorough and fair. It has made valuable policy and procedure recommendations. I'm not sure who can be against that.
Dale, you have a minute.
Well, you know, it's not that I'm against public input. I'm against the input that comes from people that really don't have a background in the policies and procedures of how the police are to react in a given situation. And my concern for the public safety guys is the fact that, you know, they're out there on the job, they're highly trained, and there's not a lot of room for error, even in this community that we have. We don't see a lot of crime, but there are hardened criminals among us. And it's real difficult for these people to go out and work within that environment, knowing that they would have to respond based on a group of people that think we ought to do something a little bit differently. These are textbook people that need to know how to react and react in any given situation. You know, more importantly, I think that when we look at, you know, the public safety, we've got compassion on that force too. I mean, there's been numbers of cases where they go out to the schools and everything else. And recently we had a police officer pick up a gentleman that was walking into town with no shoes and socks. He picked the gentleman up and took him over to the Salvation Army, helped him out with shoes and socks, and off he went. So we do have a commitment from our group that is locally born people. So,
Dr. Paul, rebuttal?
Just quickly, again, my background is medicine, and we are we're very much reviewed for what we call sentinel events and incidents. That's what I'm used to. I'm used to people looking at me very closely. When I have a problem, I don't say, you know, I've been in anesthesia for 18 years, I'm chief of the department, I've never had a problem, I've never had a lawsuit. We don't say that. People look at it. So that's so normal to me. It's just part of me, and that's how I look at things. If I'm an officer and I have an encounter with a person and they have an unfortunate event, a suicide, whatever, that's something we would look at very carefully. So I'm very comfortable with looking at critical events. As uncomfortable as it may be at times, good can come out of it. That's what we should do.